I launched an attack. One guy came with me. All out, first across the finish line win. It was roughly a 20-minute segment. I made $10,000. That's like $30,000 an hour. Do that. If you do it consistently, you will get faster.
Imagine a bike race in New York with 5,000 people in it. At the start line, there's a film crew. They're there to document the historic 6th win of the reigning champion. But she doesn't win. She comes in second. To our guest today. Hi, and welcome to the channel. Today's episode is the second in a series devoted to making you a better cyclist by sharing stories and advice from some great racers. Not only is today's guest a phenomenal competitor, she's also a full-time cycling coach. I've included in the description below a link to her coaching website. Our guest also shared with us the story of her winning a recent $10,000 QOM segment challenge. And she gave advice for beginners looking to get faster. So check out her coaching website and please consider subscribing to the channel.
I am Jill Patterson and I race for Batley. So what is GFNY? It stands for Grand Fondo New York, and it's a 100-mile race. Some Grand Fondos are timed segments, but GFNY is different where it really is just like a road race, 100 miles start to finish, all out, first across the finish line wins. Who is Camila Cortez? So she's an incredibly talented and strong rider in Colombia, and she is the winner of the New York one many times over. Like every year, Camila Cortez, Camila Cortez, Camila Cortez. So, you know, she was the one to beat. She set the precedent. Everyone just kind of assumed she would win. So in 2018, I raced GFNY. I think my start position was like number 400 or something. And I tried to make my way up because basically it's very strategic. In this race, you have about 9 miles on this little windy Riverside Park Road. And then it opens up onto the main road, I think it's 9W, and that's when the pace just like, it's all out. So if you are not in that lead group by the time you pull onto 9W, you're not gonna make it because you're not gonna come up in a group from behind. So you have to be in that first group. And I knew that starting the race. And so that was my goal. I had 9 miles to make it up to her. So on that little river road, I was passing so many people. And I got to the point where it's the last hill right before that turn onto 9W, and I could see the group in front of me. And I was trying so hard, and I was so close to making that group, but I didn't quite make it. And I was going up the hill, and I saw them turn. And at that moment, I knew I had lost first place. Like, I didn't stand a chance. There was this one little punchy neighborhood climb, and we'd been in the group with maybe 1 or 2 other women up to this point. On this punchy neighborhood climb, I really hit it, and I ended up getting away from the group. And one other guy came with me, and we get to the top of the hill, and then we go down, and he's with me at the bottom of the hill, and he actually says to me, he's like, yeah, we can sit up because, you know, it's a big group following us, and we can just let them rejoin us. And I said, no. I'm in second place right now. I just dropped those women. I want to stay away to make sure I keep second place. And he was like, oh, yeah, let's go. So it's just the 2 of us, and we have this big chase group behind us. And we trade pulls. You know, I pull, he pulls, and we're making really great time. And as we're going, we're picking up stragglers who have dropped off from the group in front of us. And each time we pass, he tells them, he's like, we've got the second place woman here. Come on, let's work. Let's do this together. So we're all just rotating together, and eventually we make it to another big group. We latch on, and I stay with them for a while. Then I get my energy back, and I leave them. And so that's how I secured second. But my goal from that was next year, I really want to get first. And my mistake had been not getting up to that group in the first 9 miles, and I knew that's what I need to do. So training. So 2019, I was my own coach, and I wasn't doing that much structured training, but I knew that I really had to work on my VO2. I commuted to work 3-4 days a week then. So basically every time I went on the trail early morning, I'd hit it as hard as I could for, you know, between the stoplight and the stoplight, or the stop sign and the stop sign. I'd just go in VO2 trying to maintain over FTP for as long as I could. So that was kind of like my training, was just trying to get it above a certain level. Like I was targeting about 270 watts because that was above my FTP, and that was my goal for that 20-minute hill climb, was about 270 watts. And I'd done the calculations, and I knew if I could do that, I could probably at least stay with Camila. came back, I was in a better start position because I had gotten second the year previously. So I was closer to Camila, and I just targeted her from the start. And I was on her wheel, and I did what she did. And she, kind of weaved up to that first group. We got on 9W, we were with that first group, and that sort of set the pace of the race. Okay, so did I know that she had a film crew in the 2019 race? Yes, for sure. I knew she had a film crew because I was talking with the owner of the race, and he told me that they were there to film her. And actually throughout the race, they were filming her, so the motorbikes were like right next to me, filming her, and I knew what they were doing. It was very close. So we were in a big group, and it was me, a German woman, and Camila. And so I knew those were my competitors. There were 3 of us. So I didn't really make any attacks. Nobody else made any attacks. There was no opportunity to get away. And so we were coming up to the finish line. The 3 women are with me in this group. And I know it's this windy little road up to a probably 3-minute climb, really punchy climb, and then the straightaway for like a mile and a half at the end. And I know that's my last chance because Camila's a strong woman. I knew if I was on that straightaway with her, she might be able to beat me. When that little punchy hill came, that's where I hit it hard. I launched an attack. One guy came with me. We dropped the rest of the group, and when we were at the top of the hill, he's like, okay, I'll help you. Like, get on my wheel. Like, let's finish this. We have a gap. And I'm like, great. So I get on his wheel, and he's pulling me to the end, and I'm just grinning and bearing it, thinking, please maintain this gap, please, please, please. And we passed the finish line, and it wasn't until 2 seconds before I passed the finish line that I actually realized I could win this. Like, I'm going to win this. And it was just my first really big win, and it was pretty special. So it was a gravel segment. It was up a gravel climb, and it was about 2.5 miles, and the fastest time wins. So it was an extremely generous prize package, even more than some pros make winning races. A friend told me about it. That was about a week before the competition started, and I saw it and I was like, wow, okay, this sounds like my wheelhouse. I should try this, and I'm super glad I did because it's probably, the most money I'll ever make. If you think about it, it was roughly a 20-minute segment. I made $10,000. That's like $30,000 an hour. That's a pretty good pay. Okay, so why did I drive another 8 hours to knock 40 seconds off of my own QOM for a second trip down there? So for 2 reasons. One, I know my watts, and my average watts for the segment were not as high as I thought I could get them. So I didn't feel satisfied that I'd done my best. I felt like I still had something in me, and I wanted to go back and see if I could get that out. The second reason was there's actually a little bit of controversy on the start position, like the entry into the segment, because it was actually at this intersection and there were 3 ways to enter into it, and I chose this way, and in the guidebook it kind of said maybe this was the approach. So I didn't know if I'd be disqualified. So I actually decided, well, I don't want to be disqualified. I might win this thing. I have to go back and do it by the right approach. So I'm actually really glad I did that because I ended up winning it, and I would not have won it. I would have gotten second place had I not gone back. It took 3 tries, and I had to kind of figure it out. And my first 2 approaches, it's not just fitness, it's equipment. So the first approach was like the baseline, and then I changed my equipment, and that got me some time. And then I changed my approach, and that got me some more time. Okay, if I could give advice to someone just starting out and they want to get faster cycling, I would say consistency is key. Don't get too worried about how fast you're going at all the times. Just get on your bike. Have fun with it. Let the passion drive you. Try to get on your bike 3 or more times a week. If you do that, if you do it consistently, you will get faster. And just make sure it's driven from passion, because that really, if you don't have the passion, you're not going to get better.